At 82, he confessed at his own birthday party. On the night of his 82nd birthday, the living room was filled with laughter, the smell of food, and the warmth of family gathered together. Children ran around with balloons, grandchildren carried slices of cake, and neighbors came with gifts. But as the clock struck 9, silence fell. He stood up, raised his glass, and instead of thanking everyone, he whispered, "There's something I've hidden for decades, and tonight, I can't keep it anymore. Stay with me." Because what followed turned a birthday celebration into a storm of truth and tears. Gasps echoed through the room. His eldest son froze with his fork halfway to his mouth. His daughter nearly dropped the wine she was holding. Everyone knew this was not an ordinary toast. He looked into the eyes of his grandchildren and said, "Before I leave this world, you must know who I really am." His voice shook the foundations of the family's story. Some begged him to sit down, to keep the peace, but he shook his head firmly. The weight of years demanded release, and so, on a night meant for celebration, an entire family would discover secrets that had been buried for more than half a century. What he confessed shocked everyone and left scars that would never fade. Watch until the end. The last confession will leave you speechless. Capitulo E, the toast that changed everything. The old man's hands trembled as he held his glass of wine. Stay with me, because this toast was not a celebration but a confession. He thanked his family for coming, his eyes glistening with tears. But the smile faded quickly, replaced by something darker. He said, "I can't let you celebrate a man you don't really know." The room fell into stunned silence. His eldest son frowned. "Father, what are you talking about?" Suspicion grew with every second. The grandchildren exchanged nervous glances, sensing the tension. Even the youngest could feel the heaviness in the air. He lowered his glass and said, "For years, I've lived with a lie. Tonight, I end it." His words cut through the air like a blade. The daughter whispered, "Please, not tonight. Let's enjoy the party." Her plea carried fear more than love. He shook his head. "No more silence. Silence has cost us enough." The weight of decades pressed into his tone. The neighbors, seated at the back, leaned forward, eager and horrified. This was no longer a birthday, it was a revelation. And then he said it. "I have another family." The next chapter reveals the shockwaves of this confession. Capítulo 2. The shockwaves. The room erupted. Stay with me, because this single confession fractured an entire family. His wife dropped her fork, her face pale as paper. Her trembling hands betrayed her disbelief. The eldest son shouted, "What do you mean, another family?" His fury filled the house like thunder. The daughter cried out, "All these years, you lied to us." Her tears mixed betrayal with heartbreak. The grandchildren froze, their world collapsing in an instant. Their hero had become a stranger. The neighbors whispered among themselves, scandal spreading like fire. The family's shame was now public. His wife screamed, "Protect us! You destroyed us!" Her rage pierced him more than any blade. The eldest son stood up, fists clenched. "Who are they? Where are they?" The demand rang like judgment, and with trembling lips, the old man said, "Some of them are here tonight." The next chapter reveals the unimaginable truth. Capítulo 3. De unimaginable truth. Gasps filled the room, louder than the music that had once played. Stay with me, because what he revealed next left everyone breathless. The old man pointed toward the back of the room, where two unfamiliar faces sat quietly. The crowd turned in shock. A young woman rose to her feet, her eyes filled with tears. "I am his daughter too." Her words fell like thunder on the family. The wife screamed, covering her face in horror. Her marriage was shattered in an instant. The eldest son staggered backward, whispering, "No, this can't be real." His denial was a fragile shield. The daughter shook her head furiously. "All these birthdays, all these years, and you bring this here?" Her voice cracked with fury. The grandchildren whispered to each other, unable to comprehend that their cousins had been hidden in plain sight. The family tree bent and broke. The young woman cried, "We didn't come to destroy you. We just wanted to be acknowledged." Her pain echoed through the room. The old man lowered his head, ashamed. "The truth is heavier than my years, but tonight it must be carried." His confession burned the air, and as the family trembled, the celebration turned into chaos. The next chapter reveals how the family confronted these hidden children. Capítulo T. The letter. The old man pulled a folded yellowed envelope from his jacket. "Stay with me, because inside was the key to decades of silence." He said, This letter explains everything. It was written long ago, but I never had the courage to read it aloud. The family froze, eyes locked on him. The wife hissed, another secret. Her voice was venomous, her heart shattered again. With trembling hands, the old man opened the letter. The paper crackled like a ghost, awakening from the past. He began to read, his voice breaking. "Forgive me for hiding them. I couldn't abandon them, nor could I abandon you." His words carried unbearable weight. The hidden daughter wept quietly, hearing her life reduced to a secret apology. Her tears fell silently, each one a scar reborn. The eldest son shouted, "This doesn't excuse you." His anger burned hotter with every sentence. The old man looked at his children and said, "I wanted to be a father to all, but I was a coward." His confession echoed through the room. The wife stood and whispered, "You stole my life." Her bitterness was the sharpest wound of all. And then, before anyone could respond, he revealed there was a second letter. The next chapter reveals what was written inside it. Capitulo. By the second letter, the old man pulled another envelope from his pocket, sealed with wax. "Stay with me, because this letter wasn't written by him," he said. "This letter is from your grandmother. She knew everything." The family gasped in shock. The daughter screamed, "That's impossible. She died years before we were born." Her disbelief was raw and fierce. The old man whispered, "She discovered my secret. Instead of exposing me, she left behind this letter for you." His voice shook with shame. He broke the seal, his hands trembling, and began to read. The room fell into a silence, heavy as stone. The grandmother's words rang out, "Blood cannot be hidden forever. One day the truth will rise, and forgiveness will be the only bridge left standing." Her wisdom pierced the air. The hidden son clenched his fists, his jaw tight, but his eyes softened with tears. The words touched something he never admitted. The wife collapsed again, whispering, "Even your mother knew, and she pitied me." Her humiliation was unbearable. The eldest son shouted, "This changes nothing. The pain is still here." His rage thundered louder than reason. And the old man said, "No, son, it changes everything, because now the truth belongs to all of us." The next chapter reveals how they reacted to this final truth. Capítulo 9. The turning point. The family stood divided, each heart torn between fury and the faint spark of reconciliation. Stay with me, because this was the moment that would decide their fate. The hidden daughter approached the wife, her eyes swollen with tears. "I never wanted to steal him from you. I only wanted a father." Her words cut softly, not as a knife, but as a plea. The wife stared at her, shaking, unsure if she felt hate or sorrow. Her silence was unbearable. The hidden son whispered to his siblings, "We lived with the same wounds. We are not your enemies." His confession planted a seed of empathy. The eldest son turned away, fists trembling, unable to face the weight of compassion. His pride battled his pain. The daughter of the first family wept, looking at her hidden sister. "All this time we could have known each other." Her grief was laced with longing. The grandchildren, caught between two worlds, asked, "Are we cousins?" Their innocent question cracked the hardest hearts. The old man cried openly, his dignity stripped away. "Please, don't let my sins destroy your future." His tears begged for unity. The wife finally spoke. "This house cannot hold so much pain." Her words forced a choice no one was ready for. And as the night bled into dawn, the family stood at the edge of forgiveness or destruction. The next chapter reveals which path they chose. Capitulo sheared the breaking point. The wife stood in the center of the room, her tears dried, her voice cold. "Stay with me," because her words would decide the next step of this family's future. She said, "I cannot live with this man anymore, but I will not destroy my children's lives with my bitterness." Her tone was sharp as a blade, yet laced with dignity. The eldest son begged, "Mother, don't leave us like this." His desperation revealed the fear of losing both parents at once. The hidden daughter reached for her siblings' hands, trembling. "We are not the enemy. We are just family." Her plea cut through decades of silence. The grandchildren's innocent eyes stared at the old man, confused between love and betrayal. Their silence was a mirror of everyone's pain. The old man fell to his knees, whispering, "I ruined everything. Forgive me if you can, but I will carry this shame until my last breath." His words struck like thunder. The wife whispered to him, "You don't deserve forgiveness." But maybe they do. Her bitterness was the price of betrayal. The neighbors left quietly, the scandal too heavy even for gossip. The house became a cage of broken souls. The daughter said, "We can't erase the past, but maybe we can survive it." Her voice shook with fragile hope, and with that, the family faced a decision that would change their lives forever. The next chapter reveals what they chose. Capítulo 6: The silent meal. The family gathered around the table again, food untouched, silence louder than words. Stay with me, because this silence carried more weight than screams. The old man sat at the head of the table, his shoulders bent, stripped of authority. He was no longer the patriarch, only a man of shame. The hidden son broke the silence. "We came here tonight not for revenge, but for truth." His voice carried both pain and dignity. The eldest son muttered, "Truth doesn't heal wounds." His bitterness clung to every syllable. The hidden daughter replied softly, "But lies destroy us faster." Her wisdom stung more than anger could. The wife stared at the table, her hands shaking. "I cannot forgive him, but I don't want to pass this hate to my grandchildren." Her words offered a bridge of survival. The children looked around, frightened, but curious. "Can we still be family?" one asked. Their innocence demanded an answer. The old man whispered, "That is for you to decide. I have no right to ask." His humility was his final act of love. The daughter of the first family stood. "We cannot undo the past, but maybe we can write a new story together." Her courage filled the silence with light, and in that moment, the family leaned toward a fragile truce. The next chapter reveals how they sealed it. Capítulo 6: The candlelight. The old man lit a single candle in the center of the table. "Stay with me, because this candle became a symbol of survival," he said. "This flame represents the truth. It burns, it hurts, but it also gives light." His voice trembled with meaning. The hidden son placed his hand on the table beside the flame. "I accept the truth, but I don't accept hate." His choice shifted the atmosphere. The daughter followed, placing her hand near his. "I accept pain, but I also choose to heal." Her bravery cracked the silence open. The eldest son hesitated, fists clenched, his pride resisting. But then, slowly, he placed his hand near theirs. His act was louder than his words. The wife looked at them, her eyes hollow, but her heart heavy. She said, "I cannot hold this flame, but I won't extinguish it." Her presence was her compromise. The grandchildren smiled faintly, sensing a fragile peace forming. Their innocence restored a piece of hope. The hidden daughter whispered, "Maybe this is how healing begins." Her tears fell like baptism over the table. The old man bowed his head, whispering, "Thank you. Even if you never forgive me, thank you for trying." His humility lit the room brighter than the candle, and in that fragile light, the family found the first thread of unity. The next chapter reveals how they tested it. Capítulo 13: The teste. Next morning, the family gathered again, unsure if the fragile truce would survive daylight. "Stay with me, because this was the test of truth." The eldest son avoided his father's eyes, but did not leave the house. His presence was a choice to stay. The wife packed a small bag, but instead of leaving, she placed it by the door. Her decision was not yet final. The hidden son offered to help prepare breakfast. His act of normalcy softened the sharp edges of the night before. The daughter laughed nervously, the sound strange after so much sorrow. Her laughter carried the hope of renewal. The hidden daughter set the table, her movements careful, respectful. Every gesture was a prayer for belonging. The grandchildren ate together, giggling softly, bridging to worlds without effort. Their innocence was the strongest bond. The old man watched, silent tears in his eyes. For the first time, he felt hope that his family might survive. The wife whispered, "Don't mistake this for forgiveness. But maybe, it's the beginning of something new." Her words carved a fragile path forward, and with that, the family began to take the first real steps toward reconciliation. The next chapter reveals how they sealed this fragile peace. Capítulo 6: The embrace. The hidden daughter stood and walked toward her half-sister. "Stay with me, because this was the first embrace of forgiveness." She said softly, "We are not enemies. We are sisters, even if it hurts to say it." Her words cracked the walls of bitterness. The sister hesitated, her eyes burning with tears, but then she opened her arms. Their embrace silenced decades of lies. The eldest son turned away, wiping his eyes, his pride bending to grief. His heart softened against his will. The wife cried quietly, watching the embrace, torn between hate and hope. Her silence was the hardest forgiveness of all. The hidden son placed a hand on his brother's shoulder. "We share the same blood." Don't let it poison us." His plea carried the weight of 2 lives lived apart. The grandchildren clapped innocently, celebrating what they could not fully understand. Their joy was the purest healing. The old man sobbed openly, his broken heart overflowing. His tears were the price of his redemption. The wife finally whispered, "Maybe forgiveness is not for him. Maybe it's for us." Her words unlocked the path to peace. And in that embrace, the family felt the first true breath of healing. The next chapter reveals how they carried this peace into the future. Capitulo Shul, the last toast. The family gathered one last time that night, glasses raised. Stay with me, because this was the final moment of truth. The old man stood, frail but steady. "I don't deserve this, but I pray you will take this peace into your lives, even when I'm gone." His humility humbled the room. The wife raised her glass, her voice trembling. "This is not forgiveness, but it is survival, and maybe survival will lead us there." Her strength was her gift. The daughter whispered, "This is our story now, broken, but still ours." Her words sealed the bond of resilience. The hidden daughter raised her glass too. For truth, no matter how painful, her courage honored the path they had chosen. The eldest son clenched his glass, then lifted it high. For family, even when it's not what we expected. His pride bowed to unity. The hidden son smiled faintly. For tomorrow, when we can choose not to repeat his mistakes, his hope was a bridge for generations. The grandchildren shouted, "For us!" Their innocence crowned the night with joy. The old man drank last, tears streaming. "Thank you for not leaving me in silence." His gratitude filled the room with light, and as the candle burned low, the family sealed their fragile peace with the last toast, a promise to face the future together. The story ends, but the lesson lingers forever.